So since I was lucky enough to play the first 60 turns of Civ 6, as well as get a lot of time to talk to the developers about the new game, I figured we'd break down the new gameplay and kind of figure out what's going on underneath the surface. So I first want to start off by saying, because there was confusion in forums and comment sections, that yes, you can move your starting settler. This demo is just kind of, I guess, jumping into it while the capital city was just founded. So just in case there was any confusion there. So let's play the video a little bit and look at some of the things that they're talking about. We skipped over kind of the first part, which was just kind of a pathway through civilization history and stuff like that. So we've got starting buildings, starting wonders, hanging gardens, and then a few units. And also something else to take note of is amenities. This is how the new happiness situation, I guess, the new happiness mechanic is going to work, as well as housing capacity. So amenities is essentially happiness. That's just the new term for it. You got to make sure that your people are happy, as well as you got to make sure that you're able to house your amount of citizens. So this is going to kind of, I believe this is going to be the mechanic that they use so that, you know, because there is no global happiness anymore, I believe this is how they're going to keep the player from just going crazy with settlers. And this should be interesting to see how this continues to progress. I know that there's going to be certain, I think, buildings to improve your amenities, and I know it's going to be pretty important, obviously. And then we just saw a little bit of the time change right there. I think it looks great. From what I'm not 100% about this, but from I've talked to developers, I think you can play the entire game in a specific time period. Like right now, during the day. I mean, so like. Right now, every turn, it's going to do that little, day and night cycle. But apparently, and don't quote me on this, but apparently you can play it all at night. You can play the entire campaign through in the morning or at dusk or I guess, dawn. You can play it in one sort of lighting way. That is something that's really cool. I think I'm really, really going to enjoy that a lot more than I think normal people will. But I specifically will really like that. Remember, China gets a unique ability for their builders. So normally builders have only 3 action points, but I think that the Chinese get 4. And actually, we can check in on that right here. So and then obviously tiles now are instantly built. So that is something else. Yeah, so he still has 3 builds. So China starts off with 4 total. So yeah, they're going to go around improving this situation, improving their kind of starting situation. We're going to jump into districts. Remember, there are 12 districts so far, and I'm going to kind of theorize some of the things that we can. Some of the districts we're going to confirm actually quite a bit in the next video, where I go more into the late game. So that's something to kind of keep in mind. So there are Eureka moments, and there's 2 specific types. So first of all, there's Eureka bonuses, or I guess Eureka moments, that will boost your science, and then I believe it's referred to as inspire your civic tree. So there are 2 trees now. There's obviously the science tree that everybody knows about. There's also a culture tree. So for those of you that were wondering, and I don't think we'd see it in this gameplay, I think it's in previous gameplay before shown, you might notice that a few of the texts are missing from the tech tree, or it looks like there's less text to discover. That's because they split up the trees to a culture tree and then the regular science tree that we're all used to. But anyways, you're going to be able to go through the beginning part of your campaign and get boosts to either your tech research or I guess your civic research, if that's the term. I'm not entirely sure if it's called the civic tree, I guess culture tree, something along those lines. So because he has a quarry, and because he placed a quarry on this resource, it's given him a boost to his masonry, I guess, research, tech. So I think he will get to be able to research that a little bit quicker. I don't think it gives you it instantly, but you'll be able to kind of research that technology a bit faster. So you'll be able to do things like that throughout the entire campaign. So I know that, like, if you start off on the coast, which is really interesting, if you start off on the coast, you will no longer... you'll get a boost to sailing, if that's still what it's called. But you'll get a boost to kind of, I think, sea-geared technologies, or maybe, who knows? Like I said, inspirations are also other things, so maybe you'll get things in the civic tree as well. So let's continue onward. So he built a resource, and I believe we might get to explore our first... Oh, we got a watermill. This is really important to watch over these yields. So the monument still giving 2 culture. requires, yeah, a city center. Let's also make sure that in the watermill, also earlier to build, it looks like. Let's back up for a second here and see if the watermill still requires, I believe, oh man, people are going to make fun of me so much because I've got like 1,500 hours plus in Civ 5, but I'm pretty sure the watermill requires a river. I cannot remember off the top of my head. Let's see if we can't stop it right there on the Hanging Gardens. I don't think we can, but let's see. I'll let you guys do that in the comment section, who's really quick on here on YouTube. So watermill is going to offer food and production. Rice and wheat resources, which rice is a new one, we're going to provide extra food yields. City must be adjacent to a river. Yeah, so it will still require a river. Requires a city center. 65 production. Now, if we look at, remember, so, you know, obviously the city screen is completely, you know, changed, I guess. So in order to look at the yield, you're actually going to look into the bottom right-hand corner. We've got culture. They're generating 13 culture. Food, production 5. And then like we've got science or beakers. I guess they're no longer, I guess we can't call them beakers anymore. And 1 religious citizen. Anyways, this stuff is just really important to look at. I was just trying to see if, kind of trying to figure out how long some of these things would take to build. So I believe they're going to build a granary. So that's going to offer them 2 extra housing. Like I said, housing is important. You can't just have this massive sprawling city if you don't have citizens in houses, you know. So it makes a lot of sense. It's also going to offer additional food, and it costs 50 production. So probably one of the beginner buildings, obviously, like one of the first buildings you might want to build. Here is an example of kind of upgrading, I believe, a district. There are 12, like I said. I've got some notes here, too, that I'm reading off of that I know I wanted to discuss some talking points here. One thing is, well, let's wait. Settler is going to go settle out here near the coast. So that will be good. He's also going to run into some barbarians. Barbarians are back. Obviously, you can't have Civ without barbarians. Is there anything new that I'm just trying to break down here? So this is what I was talking about, another Eureka moment. And because he started coastal this time, he's now going to get a boost to his sailing technology. Here's something big, and I don't know if I wanted to kind of wait for it in the next video where I go over the late game part of the demo, but districts are going to change a lot, and now it doesn't matter whether you settle coastal or not. Now, I believe if you settle coastal, you might be able to build boats faster, but let's say for the capital building that was not coastal, you can build a harbor district, and you can produce ships. An inland city can now produce ships by using the harbor district mechanic. So that's huge. To me, that was a huge piece of information. So obviously this city starting coastal can just start building ships automatically. But that capital now, if he builds a harbor district, can build ships even though he's inland. That is massive to me. I think that's a really, really big piece of information that I really like. Okay, so he's gonna get a little bonus for his when he researches sailing. Now the trader, let's see here, may make and maintain a single trade route. Something important, and this demo is going to show it right now, is that the trader is going to also build infrastructure. So when you no longer have to use your workers, or I guess they're called builders now, for infrastructure for roads. They automatically get built whenever you have a trade route, which I think is amazing. So when you really think about it, trade routes create roads now. That's not only just to your Civ to Civ cities. So, you know, they're obviously going to trade with himself, and he's going to get food yield, production yields, and 2 gold yield back. However, if, let's say, because I know that later on in this demo, he's going to find Egypt out here towards his east, and then America towards his west. If he sends, you know, from his capital a trader to the capital of America, there's automatically going to get a road. So everything is going to connect really naturally now, as well as it's going to get built a lot faster. There's going to be infrastructure all around the world. That's another big point for war, something to really consider during the late game. And it's also going to be a very interesting choice to make when you're choosing which city you want to trade with, because you know that road is going to get placed down. So maybe you have someone that's being a little bit aggressive off to your west. You know, like I said, for this example, Egypt's out here. Maybe you want to rethink. You know, they might offer you a bunch of gold yield back, or whatever it might be. But you're like, I don't know if I want to put that infrastructure in place, because I don't want them to utilize that if they're going to go to war with me. Things like that, really, I want to jump into, you know, discussing things like that for for looking at this gameplay. So it looks like we've probably gone up to maybe about turn 50. I mean, the capital's at 10 population now. They've got 10 religious citizens. Another thing about religion that I wanted to mention is that pantheons now are tied to the city. So before, a religion would come, and the founder of that religion, they would push their pantheon over to you. Now pantheons are on a whole another level. So if the Chinese discover a pantheon, and the Americans down towards the south bring over Christianity, they're still going to keep their pantheon. It's really important to know. I think that's really, really cool. So you no longer have to worry about, if you discover a pantheon, that pantheon being, essentially made worthless by someone sending over their religion and completely destroying your pantheon. As well as you don't have to rush a religion if you just want a pantheon. So that's really cool. I like that situation a lot. Okay. So Stonehenge, there's the Hanging Gardens, increases growth by 15% in all cities, must be built next to a river. It looks like the Hanging Gardens is no longer tied to the tradition policy tree. Remember, it was in Civ 5 as of like a few other updates. So that's definitely something to kind of keep in mind. There we go. So Stonehenge is going to cause for faith now. Grants a free great prophet. Great prophets may find a religion. Oh, whoa, that's pretty huge. Stonehenge grants free great prophet. Grants a free great. I don't know why I'm missing the A part of it. Great prophets may found a religion on Stonehenge instead of a holy site. Maybe adjacent to, what is that? What tile? I'll let you guys know. Oh, that's a quarry. That's stone. Maybe adjacent to stone, obviously. Stone and on a. It's kind of hard to read that, but on something land. I'll let you guys. For those that know how to read better than I do, which is pretty much everybody that's watching this video. Anyways, yeah, that's really huge. Okay, something to kind of take notes of. Stonehenge, good for religion. And okay, so we're gonna see our first district. Actually, I think the granary was jumping into that a little bit. But anyways, a district in your city for religious worship. So we're gonna see the Chinese AI here. I guess there's someone technically playing it, so it's not an AI, but we're gonna see them find a religion. Adjacency, majority, faith bonus for adjacent natural wonders, standard faith bonus for each adjacent. Yeah, so mountains now actually provide quite a bit of yields in general. I know that's not only to faith, but also to, I remember with my own hands-on play, when I built a science district, they were also offering me more yield. So mountains are going to be actually pretty interesting now. They might offer a lot more yields, and there might be more of a reason. I don't know if observatories are in the game, but in Civ 5, that was really the only reason why you wanted a mountain range next to you, at least just one, because besides that, they're eating up all these tiles. Now, these mountain ranges are going to be good for extra yield. So you're going to have, so since this tile is adjacent to two different mountains, you get, I guess, 2 yield. I'm guessing that's how it's going to work, somewhat like that. Somewhat like that. I'm not 100%, but I know that it offered me also extra science when I was building my science district. So yeah, mountains are going to provide a little bit more now to yield, and obviously they're still going to provide that awesome defense because no one is going to be able to pass through it. At least I don't know. At least not in early game. I'm sure there's no early units that can pass over mountains, but maybe late game. Who knows? Okay, so yeah, they're gonna slap down their holy site, and other things to look at are these units here. Heavy chariot, interesting. We've got a settler, a builder, a trader. We all know what those are. That's a new one. I don't think we've seen the heavy chariot. I'm wondering if it's going to work like the war chariots. Wonder if it's going to work like those a little bit. I am not sure. So I've got the progression through the holy sites. I know the buildings that the holy sites build. Starts off with a shrine, then a temple, and then I'm not sure actually the third one. I know a few of the other ones, so when we jump into encampments, I'll look into that a little bit. Did I mention the slinger here before too? So I think they're going to build a shrine, projects, holy site prayers. I wonder if he's going to scroll over that. Oh, that's too fast. There's no way. I didn't even see anything. So the shrine's going to offer 2 faith, 1 great prophet point per turn. That's how, I guess, you get it's the same thing. Discovering a religion, you need a great prophet. So boom, they're going to slap down the shrine, and there we go. I think they're going to start to build a. One thing to know is that apparently holy sites are very good on desert tiles. So it might be a good idea because desert tiles aren't naturally going to provide you that much yields. I don't think any, depending on what tiles are adjacent to it. So I know that holy sites are really good for desert, like desert and holy sites, and desert and just faith and religion in general are really good combinations here. So that will be pretty cool to look at. Battering ram, another interesting, unique unit that we see. And we've got wonders. So they're going to build the pyramids. And then the ancient walls. So there's probably going to be a progression through walls now. It's not going to be just, walls, castle, and then, geez, off the top of my head, there's another one, but I cannot remember it. Anyways, yeah, so the pyramids, what is this going to do? Grants free builder. All builders can build one extra improvement. So that's a huge combination. We already have a very good combination. You know how everyone talks about Civ 5, like leader, and wonder combinations. As China, to build the pyramids with it, that's a huge combo because you naturally get the 4 builds with builders, and then the pyramids on top of that is 5. So I mean, you could probably get away with only building getting a handful of builders in your campaign, and just using them for the entire game. Okay, so is there anything else? All builders can build one extra improvement. Must be built on a desert. Now that will be something including floodplains without hills. That will be something else, is that you'll only be able to build wonders on certain tiles. Now my question is, and we haven't got this answered yet, can you pillage wonders in production? So we know for sure that you will be able to view an AI if you're close enough to their territory. You'll be able to view their territory and see if they're building a certain wonder. So you'll see it like this. Which is going to be really cool, because then you'll know, oh my gosh, America's building the pyramids, I've got to rush him. I want to know if you can pillage these tiles. How awesome would that be, and what would that do, essentially? I'd imagine, I think it's a safe bet that you can, but I want to know how much damage would that do. Would that just shave off a few turns? I feel like it'd just shave off a few turns. I don't think they'd make you completely rebuild it. Or maybe pillaging will just stop production of it. You can't build it for anymore, and then you'll have to improve that tile and then continue building. That's what I'm thinking more than likely what we'll see. So yeah, anyways, we've got another Wonder movie, which I absolutely love. I think it looks really cool. Looks beautiful right there, hidden behind the mountains and everything like that. That's really awesome. Okay, so looks like we're going to start to... Oh, yeah, also another thing to jump into is crabs as a resource now, and I believe these are the whales. Well, actually, no, I'm sorry. Those are both resources, but these are the new icons. I totally blanked out there for a second. How's his second city doing? He's got 6 religious citizens. Clearly something's going wrong with his amenities a little bit, because he's in the 0. And housing capacity, he's of 0 of 4 right now, so I'm wondering what that is going to mean, and I'm wondering if that's explaining why this value here is red. Possibly. I'll have to look more into that. Maybe you guys will figure it out. Again, I'm sure you guys can do even more, I guess, in-depth looks at these videos, but I just wanted to give my 2 cents, having obviously played Civ 5 a lot and talking to the developers and my own hands-on experience. So anyways, we've got the trade route icon obviously back, and then we've got resources here. Bananas. This might be the whales. I might be totally wrong. Wheat. But it's nice to have them listed. Before, you had to scroll over your happiness and then wait for the tooltip to pop up, and then you'd see. But it's nice to have them all visually there in front of you, and then you can see how many resources you have of each. I'm wondering, this is probably going to also make it way easier for trade, rather than having to click on, a leader and then going into the trade menu. It's really nice to have that information right there. And we don't know that much about diplomacy yet, so that's something else to keep in mind. Monument, ancient walls, granary. So he's going to build the encampment, which is another district. Here's the spearmen. Interesting that the spearmen now have the pikeman icon from Civ 5. That's just something else I wanted to throw out there. Okay, so the encampment, what is this going to do? A district in your city for military facilities, I'm sorry. 1 great general point per turn. That's awesome. You'll be able to help out your great general production. Requirements cannot be adjacent to a city center. So that was what I was going to say. So these encampments are huge because not only do they allow you to build military units outside of the city center, but they're also going to get their own range strike as well. So you know how like Civ 5 has the city bombardment. So you'll be able to hit the city, you'll be able to hit units from the city. Well, these bombardments will also be in the encampments. So it's interesting. I'm glad that I read that requirement. So it can't be adjacent to the city. Now the next question is, and again, I'm going to have to talk about this a little bit in the next video when we talk about late game, but we have Egypt popping up over here. And I think they end up building an encampment right on this tile, which is 2 tiles away. So assuming that the bombardment from both the cities and the encampments are still, have a range of 2 tiles, could that encampment start just loading on a city? I don't think so, but who knows? Do you get just an automatic range attack with an encampment to attack another city? Because that would be really big if you do. That's interesting. Another kind of question that we might want to pose. This looks like a harbor tile improvement as well. And we've got horses here. Just kind of wanted to mention it, just kind of throw some things out, like some lumber mills right here. Just want to throw some things out as I see them. I'm sure I'm not like catching every single thing, but yeah. Okay, so we've got the barracks, which is going to be okay. So I do have the notes here. Actually, no, I'm assuming that the encampment district we know for sure barracks now, which barracks are going to provide production, extra housing, another great general point per turn. I'm not sure if I'm a little bit confused about the great general points per turn. If they're both providing 2 now, it makes sense. I think so. I think they'd both provide 2 for that great person. 25% combat experience for all melee and range units trained in the city. May not be built in an encampment district that already has a stable requires. Oh, that's period. Drew, period, obviously. Requires a encampment district, and that's obvious too. District that already has a stable. Interesting. It looks like there was a stable 2 tiles south of the encampment. Something else to make. I'm probably. I don't know the game that well, but something else to keep in mind is that this is a demo. So I'll talk about what I mean by that a little bit later. I'm just gonna stop right there, and I'll explain why not everything should be. All this information should be definitely taken with a grain of salt. It looks beautiful to me. I really like it. It looks really good. Okay, so boom, barbarians come in. Now the way barbarians are going to work, which is really interesting, is we've got 3 types of raiding parties for barbarians now, as well as that initial barbarian that finds your city is going to go back to his encampment and let them know. Let them know what's going on. Like, how cool is that? That's really awesome to me. I think that's really fun. So this guy is apparently the first barbarian is going to come back, but the 3 raiding parties, where he's going to go back to his encampment. I mean, the 3 raiding parties are, there's a melee, there's a cavalry party, and then there's a naval camp. So those are the types of units, I guess, they'll be sending at you. It's really cool because the cavalry barbarians can only be established if there's a horse resource nearby. That's so fun to be able to give the barbarians a little bit more depth to them, because they were pretty mindless, obviously, in Civ 5, so it's really awesome to see that. This is what I mean. It's a demo, so things should be taken with a grain of salt. This spearman, not a pikeman, the spearman has 7 promotions. So obviously, yeah, not everything is going to be, the information and the values that we're seeing might be changed for the demo, or also it's still an early build. We have, some time before the game comes out. So I do want to look at the combat window here. Actually, no, we can't really look at it that much because of the promotions. So he's going to be able to dominate here, obviously. So obviously he's going to get decisive victories because of all the 7 promotions. So this is a Barbarian Warrior. He has 5 base strength, plus 5 combat bonus versus Spearman and Pikeman. Wait a second. I thought we established that this was this icon. Interesting. Maybe this is a pikeman, because that's what it says right there. But the icon in the city, I'm a little bit confused. But those could be placeholders. Who knows? Or maybe I'm smoking crack. That's probably what's going on here. Plus 10 combat bonus versus melee units. Yeah. So the pikemen look like they've been beefed up. He's got 51 combat strength overall. It looks like. Again, he's got a lot of promotions on him, so that's not natural. That's not like what you're going to see. So he's able to just sweep through. So we still have experience points that pop up. That's cool. Here's an example of the barbarian horses. Or barbarian horse archers, I mean. Those things are going to be so annoying with 15 range attack, it looks like. And they can move 3 tiles. Do they only have a range of 1, though? Can they only fire upon... Looks like this might be showing us that they only have range for 1 tile away instead of 2, what we're used to with regular horse archers, which is interesting. And now look at this. In the combat window, we now see damage shown. So it has 4 damage so far. It's kind of good to note that. This also went down. I'm guessing maybe this number is showing us the health, the overall health. Anyways, again, just trying to explore some of the new things. Here's marble. Here's the new marble resource. Yeah, this guy swooped in, killed him like nothing, and oh my gosh, I thought I was playing for a second. I was trying to move over. And then we've got archers here, which I thought was really funny because when I watched this demo live at E3, I almost died a little bit inside when I saw that this melee unit attacked across the river. I understand it's just a demo, but I just thought it was really funny because I was just like, this moment right here, I was like, oh no, oh, ouch. I mean, but you know, he's pretty close. All right, boom. So there goes the encampment. Getting 4 XP for that. You still get, was it always 50 gold in Civ 5? I thought it was maybe 25, but that's interesting. Also additional promotions for this knight. I'm assuming the knight and the crossbowman. Yeah, we're about in the medieval times, so you know what? I'm not sure. Anyways, all those units are kind of medieval area, and then we've got another settler. So he's gonna find a city nice next to the wheat resource, and now we get to progress through time a little bit more. So I think I'm gonna stop it right there. Also, we can get a visualization of what probably the ancient walls look like. I'm gonna assume those are the ancient walls. Those are definitely the scouts. The horse, or I'm sorry, the horse, the dog, which is pretty cool. Here we have Theodore, who has the big stick diplomacy, which will be his leader bonus, and we get a little bit of a, we can dive a little bit into what the diplomatic screen is going to look like. So declaration of friendship, it's going to be all out there in the open, which is interesting. Send delegation. So I know for sure that those delegations, like, everyone has a unique delegation, whatever they're going to send. So if Theodore were to send us something, if we were to pay 25 gold and send us something, we would get apple pies from him. And every single civ is going to have a unique thing that they would send through this delegation. I believe it's through this delegation act. Through delegation, we're going to be able to learn more about kind of the gossip screen. So right now there's nothing to report. However, we're going to see more things like, for example, we can see what he's, or we can hear about what he's building, apparently. We might be able to get, I know that for sure we get specific information on if he's going for like a religion. So like it might tell us like if he's building a holy site or something somewhere. But this is going to be really useful information. This might be really interesting to look into. Here's the denounce still. We've got an actual modifier for declaration of war, which is really nice, very clearly put right there, warmongering 50%, and then we can look into make a deal. Intel report, gossip items, no items, so we don't really know too much about this, but we do have a relationship. And nice. So the agenda is out there in the open, the big stick policy, and then one hidden agenda. That is a new thing with all the leaders. They're all going to have hidden agendas. Government chieftain. We're going to be talking about the governments in the next video a little bit. Yeah, so we're going to be talking about the governments and the cultural thing. Ooh, what is this? So we've got gold per turn. That can still be a thing. You can still trade luxury resources. Only looks like extras, though, because I know that China had a lot of extras. It's very nice that we can see modifiers up here in the top right-hand corner as well. He's got 2 horse strategic resources. Agreement, joint war. That's very cool. So that is going to show us possibly a way for us to bring in allies to wars, and then maybe offering them a little bit of money on the side, or a little bit of, you know, other stuff on the side. But it does look like going to war, forcing another civ to go directly into a one-on-one war with another civ is no longer possible anymore. It might be in the later game, but right now it's looking like you have to, if you're going to force another civ to go to war, you have to also join that war, which I think it makes a little bit of sense if it stays like that. So still 30 turns for these trade deals, it looks like. So they're going to trade luxury to luxury, and then boom, there goes the deal. It's nice that we were able to look into that a little bit. Oh, that's interesting. So the strategic resources are up here too, not just the luxury resources, because I can see the horse icon there. So I might have mixed up the sides a little bit. I might have mixed up, you know, who was on what side. Okay, let's jump into the last thing. I've been talking about how I was going to end this video, but I'm just too excited. So this is the new government window. we can view governments. This is not the beginning government, I don't believe. I believe the beginning government is the chieftain, because some time's gone by. So what America had at that moment, I think it was a chieftain. Everyone starts off with a chieftain government, which only allows you to take this with a grain of salt. I'm not 100%. I think I'm pretty close to, you can only put military policies and economic policies. Then you have to upgrade your government to get access to the diplomatic policies and to be able to integrate that into your empire. And then the wildcard policies are going to be obviously pretty big. Those wildcard slots, you're going to want to get up as quickly as possible, because just to have a wildcard is huge. Look at each policy. Yes, okay, I'm sorry, I was just reading my notes for a little bit. Diplomatic League, so the first diplomacy envoy you send to each city-state counts as 2 envoys. Interesting. I don't know what that means. We'll have to look into that a little bit later. Maybe you guys probably know. Again, at the time of me recording this, I don't have all the information that might have hit by the time you're watching this. Discipline. So that's a policy that we're somewhat used to, combat strength versus barbarians. So that's back from Civ 5 social policies from the honor tech tree. Land surveyors. Reduces cost of purchasing a plot by 20%. So you can still buy tiles. I think I already knew that. But you're going to get that a little bit cheaper, which might be very useful if you're starting off on a smaller map, or if you start on a archipelago map and you have civs nearby next to you. Buying tiles in that situation is really crucial. God King, which is another policy that has returned, offering faith golds in the capital. Retainers. We've got amenities for cities with a garrisoned unit. That is this very. So we're seeing very kind of familiar policies that we're used to somewhat from the social policy tree, from the social policies from Civ 5. This, except again, amenities is happiness. So that's one way that you can get additional amenities. Each city receives 1 culture for each specialty district. That's another thing that we haven't talked about. There are some civs that have specialty districts, unique districts. No one that's been announced just yet. The only people that have been announced is China, America, Japan, and Egypt, and they've already announced this information as well. So yeah, we don't know anybody just yet, but it might be kind of interesting, obviously pretty useful, because there's 12 districts starting off if you're not counting the city center itself. Anyways, let's just jump into the final few policies. 2 gold from all trade routes, 2 great scientist points per turn. I'm sorry, 2 great artist points per turn. Might be good for a possible cultural victory. 2 gold for all trade routes. That's really nice, actually. Definitely want to get that in there. Maritime industry plus production, 100% production towards ancient and classical era naval units. I'm sure this is one of those policies that you only get kind of in the medieval era or a little bit later. If you're getting 100% production, I mean, that's amazing to be able to build that like twice as fast as normal. Colonization, 50% production towards settlers. Love that one. That's really cool. Urban planning is a big one. You're definitely going to want. That's one of those that you can keep. You would probably want to rush quite quickly. Revelations, and then 2+ points for great profit. So it seems like there's definitely a few ways. Inspiration has popped up now. 2 great scientist points per turn. Okay, so we're going to see great people specialists as well. Great people, I guess points in the civic tree. There's going to be easier ways to get access to great people. Unfortunately, this demo does not jump into the great person window, but I did get to look at it a little bit in my playthrough. It's very interesting because every civ in the world competes for the same great people. Hanging Gardens. Oh, okay. We didn't see the Oracle, but that's okay. And do I see any other extra units? We've got 4 more districts now. Commercial hub. Looks like an economic district. Theater square, obviously cultural. Encampment and holy site we've already discovered. And we're going to see some more a little bit later. A district in your city for cultural sites. Yeah, obviously. Adjacent standard culture bonus for each adjacent wonder. Interesting. That's kind of cool. Each culture bonus for each adjacent wonder. That's very nice. Minor culture bonus for adjacent district tiles. 1 plus great science. So that seems like it's going to be an all across the board thing. Most districts are going to provide extra points for great people. So that's cool. And then bam. So we're going to see the district get built. Again, we don't know exactly what buildings are going to be going on top of this district. I'm guessing an opera house. You know, I mean, if I'm using my knowledge from Civ 5 here, possibly an opera house. Who knows? So that might be kind of interesting. Oh, I missed it. Oh, I was so close. Hold on. I swear I pressed pause on the Oracle. There we go. So plus culture, plus faith. Whoa, this is amazing. Plus culture, plus faith. Then you get extra points for every great person in the game. Great admirals, great artists, great engineers, great generals, great merchants, great prophets, great scientists. So there's the 7. And like I said earlier, every Civ is competing for these great people. Patronage of great people costs 25% less faith. Must be built on hills. Patronage of great people. Interesting. Don't know what that means. I have no idea what that means, but that's really exciting. That is very exciting. I think we're going to build the Great Library. Yes. So this is another additional wonder. Culture. This is going to offer obviously science. Great person point per turn. 2 great works of writing slots. So the writing slots are back, and that's what I thought. I thought that the Great Library was going to add more kind of culture, and that's what I heard. That's interesting. It's only giving additional 2 science yield, which isn't the most, but getting those 2 great works of writing slots is pretty nice. Receive boosts to all ancient and classical era technologies. So if you're behind, maybe that would be a good way to jump in and catch up on some of those early techs. Must be built on flat land adjacent to a campus district with a library. Again, the requirements for these wonders to be built, really interesting. So you start off in a bad spot, you're going to be kind of screwed for wonders. But at the same time, you know, maybe rushing a wonder is a little bit more applicable, a little bit more realistic. Because you know that maybe some of the civs out there in the world are not going to have all the requirements, all the tile requirements to be building these things. So that's really, really awesome. Okay, so now that we're at the late game part, so I'm going to have to stop right there. I'll leave a link in the description below to my Civ 6 playlist, so you can see all the things that I've done on Civ 6 so far and things like that. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one when I talk about late game stuff.